Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing a quick and easy fun book haul, so let's get into it. Alright, so I have got a stack here of books that I have acquired in the last month or so. It's been a little bit since I've done a haul, and frankly I'm getting tired of all this stack sitting here and not being put on my shelf, so I thought I would share these with you today. Now, that being said, this is not in any kind of particular order. I'm really not going to get into the synopsis of these too much. Just basically share with you some of the books that have caught my eye recently that I wanted to pick up. So let's get started. All right, so the first three I have grabbed here. First one is Green River Running Red. This is by Ann Rule. This is an older book, I do believe. She has written quite a few books on different true crime stories. And in this one, we are following none other than the Green River Killer. I have wanted to pick up a good book on this. I've watched many documentaries of the Green River Killer. I'm sure we're all familiar with it. But I look forward to reading this book. And I'll tell you, it's a little bit chunkier than I expected. We're looking at somewhere right around a little over 500 pages. So yeah, this should be quite a thick read, but I look forward to reading this one. Next up, we have The Black Tongue Thief, and this is by Christopher Buehlman. I saw this on a YouTube video, and I apologize, I really can't remember who it was, but this cover has been staring at me. Every time I go into Barnes & Noble, I just love the color scheme of this, and I picked it up. The blurb on the front says, your smallest mistake could become your biggest adventure. Yeah, this is something to do with Kinshanak. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he was educated as a thief, so I believe he incurs a debt, and he goes to attack a traveler to try to collect money to settle this debt, and he picks the wrong mark, and I believe we follow an adventure from there on. But again, I think this was more of like a cover buy than anything else. I just loved the black and yellow. The next is one that I have been seeing everywhere lately, and that is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. And this is described as an old mercenary group that were very famous back in the day. They've since retired, and one of them comes out of retirement in order to save his daughter. So we follow this ragtag group as they pretty much relive the glory days. Now, Becca in the books just read this one recently, and she actually DNF'd it, so I'm a little worried because most of what she reads, and if she likes it, our tastes are similar, so I'm really curious to see if I make it through this book. The next book I have is actually a sequel. This is The Map Makers by Tamsin Merchant, and this is the sequel to the middle grade The Hat Makers, which is such an adorable little story. I actually still have not read the first one, but I saw this in the bookstore and I just absolutely loved this cover, and everybody has given The Hat Makers such great reviews that I'm sure to like The Map Makers as well. The next book I have to show you is The Dragon's Path by Daniel Abraham. I know nothing about this book. It says, falling pebbles can start a landslide. A spat between the free cities and the severed throne is spiraling out of control. A new player rises from the depths of history, fanning the flames that will sweep the entire region unto the dragon's path, the path to war. So yeah, very curious about this one. The next book was actually recommended to me by Amazon, and that is Legacy of Bones by Kurt Dugal. I know nothing about this. I just absolutely adored the cover and I scooped it up. Alright, the next book I want to talk about is Kiss of the Selkie by Tassona Odette. This is another Amazon recommendation, and it is a Little Mermaid retelling, so that was pretty much all I needed to know. I did not realize though how chunker of a book this is. I believe this is probably YA, I want to say, and I mean this is almost 500 pages. It did not look like that big of a book, so curious to see how that is. The next one is one that I picked up strictly because I read another book by this author and was immediately enthralled. That is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I read the Book of Cold Cases, absolutely love that story. And I had more than one person tell me that if I enjoyed that one, that this one was even better. So I do look forward to reading this one as well. I believe this is another dual timeline, yes. So curious to see what this one's about. All right, I'm always on the lookout for graphic novels that I can fit in amongst my other bigger reading, kind of a reading relief, if you will. So I picked up the first in the Scales and Scoundrels series after I saw them on JD Ray Reads. This just looks like a fun middle grade graphic novel where we are following people that are involved with dragons. And if there is anything with dragons in it, I'm going to read it. Next up is a newer series by one of my favorite authors, and that is A Trial of Sorcerers by Elise Kova. She just released the second one not too long ago, but I have not yet read this one, so I am looking forward to this one. It says that ice is in her blood. This is a tale of competition, coming of age, distant lands, elemental magic, and romance. So I was really curious about the elemental magic, and I look forward to this one as well. The next one is one of my highly anticipated books of the year, and that is none other than The Blood Trader by Lynette Noni. I'm actually already waiting on the pre-order for the Fairy Loot special edition of this book, but I don't believe it's shipping till like September, October. Either way, I was not about to wait that long. I'm dying to see where Kiva's story finishes up. I believe this is the finale of this story, and I cannot wait to get back in this world and back with these characters and see how everything wraps up. Alright, just a couple more here. This is another one that I've been waiting on, and this is the second book by Alex E. Harrow. These are like short stories, Fractured Fable series. So this one is A Mirror Mended. The first one was A Spindle Splintered, where we were kind of dealing with a Sleeping Beauty retelling. I'm assuming A Mirror Mended is probably having to do with Snow White. Yes, it looks like she's dealing with the evil queen in this one, so I'm curious to see what this one is. The last two are actually recommendations based off one of the employees at Barnes & Noble that I inevitably talk to almost every time I'm in there. Me and her share almost exactly same taste in books, so when she recommended these two to me, I couldn't help but pick them up. So the first one is Rise of the Mages by Scott Drakeford. I hadn't heard of this one before she mentioned it to me, and I'll tell you what really got me interested was the fact that in here we follow Emrail Ire, who wants nothing to more than to become a weapons master. And then moving on, it says to rescue his brother, he must embrace not only his abilities as a warrior, but also his place as the last of the ancient mage kings, for the fallen god has returned and he is hungry. So the blurb says that this combines gripping personal vengeance with compelling characters for an action-packed read. I love action-packed fantasies, and I'm sure this one isn't going to be any different. I can't wait to read it. The last book is one that I really took strictly on her recommendation because it isn't one that I would typically pick up, but that is called How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Universe, and I believe this is more of a sci-fi. It says, Easton adds a feminine modern twist to fairy tale and science fiction tropes while presenting an intergalactic adventure that enthralls in its own right, striking that ideal balance between original and familiar. So the only thing it says on the back, the 13th fairy said this, I curse you, Rory Thorne, to find no comfort in illusion or platitude, and to know truth when you hear it, no matter how well concealed by flattery, custom, or mendacity, which is exactly how Rory Thorne became the woman who destroyed the multiverse. So I'm really curious. This almost sounds like this could be humorous, which I'm hoping for. But yeah, mixing fairy tale with sci-fi tropes, that was enough to have me curious. So I'm curious. I'm really unsure about this one, but I'm curious enough that I can't wait to read it. Alright guys, so that's everything that I have acquired recently. I also have quite the stack of library books over here that I need to get to, and I will mention this. I've never read a Stephen King novel. I've watched multiple movies of his, and I enjoyed them, but I never really wanted to read the books. But I did pick up two, and the first one was Billy Summers, and the other one is the date 11-something-63. Anyway, it has to do with time travel and the JFK assassination, and those really intrigue me. And Billy Summers, I believe, has to do with a hitman. You're following a hitman, and I am looking forward to seeing what I think of Stephen King. I may do a reading vlog on that just so you can get my reactions. I think that would be interesting, so be on the lookout for that. But that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this, if you found any books that you would like to read, or if you've already read some of these that I've mentioned, please let me know down in the comments below. As always, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!